been a number of films, original and adaptations. Is there a certain responsibility you feel like when there's already an original work that you have to bring into the film, or do the directors and kind of screenwriters give you a lot of leeway for your performance?
Not really, because I'm not in the book, which made it easier for me. Because when I first heard about the project, my agent told me about it. They hadn't forwarded me the script, so I kindled the book and did a brief search of Adam, my character. He doesn't appear, so that wasn't a very auspicious start. He's a character that was added afterwards, so I didn't feel the same responsibility, I have to say. No one to be disappointed.
Again, veteran of many films. Do you ever have any like these geek out moments where you see people, Tim Burton, for example, or other stars or other actors that you really respect and just love to work with?
Yes, and one of the secrets is trying to hide the nerdy, giggly boy, the old boy, admittedly, but that pops out or wants to in situations like that. Sitting next to Tim Burton in the press conference, because he wasn't around when we were filming. So it's like, oh, it's real. You are actually involved. So all of that. And occasionally when you're filming, you just get a kind of a dear mum moment when you imagine writing, "Dear mum, I am presently covered in blood with fake fangs on top of a speeding train," etc. But you can't think like that all the time. A lot of the time it's waiting and hanging around, and then once in a while you just get a kind of incredible flash of how lucky you are to be doing a job like this. However rare those moments may be.
What do you study for this kind of role? Do you read a lot of, like Pulp Fiction, novels, kind of watch movies to get ready for this?
Well, it happened very quickly for me. I was cast, and then the same week I was flown down to New Orleans to do the movie, so I didn't have too much time. I was literally reading the book on the plane on the way down there. But, we had a great time, and it went pretty smoothly.
What kind of training? Was there any training involved with this in terms of any, the stunts?
Well, I did the stunts, but I was naked.
Yeah.
So, maybe I did a couple of extra spinning classes that week.
Got to get prepared. Tell me, what's your favorite monster?
Vampires.
What is it about the vampires that you like?
I like that they run really fast, because I run fast, so it's kind of like in common with me. So that's why I like it.
Very cool. Did you have to, study anything about being one of the most famous president's son?
Not really, because they actually told me stuff on set, so that was fun.
All right. And just final thing here. If you were to see a vampire walking towards you, what would you do? How would you get rid of him?
If I had a knife in my hand, I would probably slice it in half.
I just actually saw your movie The Loved Ones, which was really, really cool. Intense, too. But, coming from that, Australian picture, a little smaller scale, what's the difference kind of preparing or the reception that you've had from a big mainstream picture like this now?
I guess with The Loved Ones, it was a very different role. I was playing a psychopath. So in terms of that, we got a really good following after we screened at Toronto Film Festival, and so the horror fans are a real, they're great support, and they love the film. And the preparation for Abraham Lincoln was very different, because I'm playing the wholesome mother of Abraham Lincoln. So my preparation was extremely different.
And just in terms of the reception of a big mainstream movie, what's that been like for you, coming from smaller scale to now this big production?
Oh, it's really exciting. Just the buzz around, the movie, and having such a great director and Tim Burton producing. It's just a great collaboration of really creative people.
Character Joshua. What makes him such a good friend to the president?
Well, he gave him a place to stay. It was a friendship of convenience at first, and then they became friends for the rest of their lives. So it's just that way. You meet someone, somebody needs something, and then you realize you really get along.
I know in the film you don't get to really dispatch too many bad guys in there, but Abe uses his axe. So what would be your weapon of choice?
Axes are underused with vampire slaying, and I think this movie kind of makes a great argument for going straight axe when you're chopping vamps.
Any kind of lumberjack equipment?
Anything heavy and metal tipped.
What attracts you to a certain film nowadays?
they each stand on their own, obviously. Alice in Wonderland was Tim Burton. Victoriana, Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, which I adore as a story. To play her father, that was a trip, because it was a small role, but it was emblematic of the Victorian era. So that was the doorway into the way of thinking. So it was well written and hopefully well performed. I gave it my best shot. So this, vampires, why not? I think, it's fun to play a vampire, and on stage I've played one, but never on film. So it was nice to be able to come and play this in a mashup of genres, which I like the idea of. It's not your stereotypical vampire film, and there's been a lot of them. It has a political edge, although there's never really enough. It's a great story. The psychological component of vampires is definitely worth mining more deeply than I think often it is. And this one, the difference in this one is it goes into society more. It goes into something of the political arena, but still it's comedic and it's entertaining. So it has, it's to be enjoyed.
Just really to be around a tall guy. Thank God. I'm looking down at everybody.
I do what I can.
Well done.
You played two presidents now.
I know.
Andrew Jackson in theater.
Yeah.
And
you're right, on Broadway. Yeah. You can say it.
and now Lincoln. I just want to know, what's more believable to you, a rock star Andrew Jackson or a vampire hunter Abe Lincoln?
A vampire hunter Abe Lincoln. Particularly in the context that we made it. You got Timur directing it, Caleb Deschanel shooting it, Tim Burton producing it. It's kind of hard to not believe it.
I also read that Jackson's nickname was Old Hickory, so I think you made the right choice.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear it.
I was going to say, you look like you're having a horrible time on the red carpet right now.
Now? No? Who is this guy? Is he drunk? All right, here we go.
You play Abe Lincoln's valet, and I read that he died of smallpox in real life, and I just want to know, what do you think would be worse, smallpox or being drained by a vampire to death?
I think what would be worse is if William H. Johnson didn't exist, because he showed us exactly the type of man that Abraham Lincoln was. A lot of people don't know that when he died, coming back from giving the Gettysburg Address, Abraham Lincoln paid for him to be buried at Arlington Cemetery with money out of his own pocket. And on his headstone, Abraham Lincoln put William H. Johnson, citizen. That's remarkable to do in the mid-1800s. And also, he gave a writ of freedom, not only to William H. Johnson, but to his siblings, his friends, and his family. To do that at that time, it showed exactly, the type of mettle that he had as a man, and I think a man that deserved to be president.
When you were writing the novel, was the screenplay always in the works as well, or is this kind of a standalone process for you?
When I started the novel, it was just going to be a book. It was just going to be the follow-up to Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. And I figured that because that had been so successful, I figured, inevitably you're going to get the sophomore slump where you just, no matter what you do after you have a big success, it's not going to work. But halfway through the process, halfway through me writing the book, I got a call from Tim Burton and Timur Bekmambetov saying, hey, we hear you're writing another book, and we hear it's about Lincoln fighting vampires, and would you come and meet with us and talk about making a movie? So at that point, yes, everything changed, and I started thinking, wow, this could actually be a movie.
Yeah, that must have been a huge thrill.
It was incredible, and it was intimidating. I remember the strange fact, but the first time that Tim and Timur and I all sat in the room together was the day Michael Jackson died. That's just a random, apropos of nothing, but it was just another strange thing on top of a very strange, intimidating, and exciting day.
And was Lincoln first choice when you thought vampires or battling monsters like that?
Lincoln was the only choice, not just because his life was so inherently heroic and because he was the greatest American president, and perhaps the greatest American, but because it started as an observation that I had in bookstores where I was seeing all of these Abraham Lincoln biographies and I was seeing all of these vampire books, and it just got me thinking, wow, people really can't get enough of these two concepts, and why isn't anyone mixing them?